Hello, everybody. Welcome to another ZoukCast episode. This time I'm very well accompanied. You wouldn't believe who I have here. It's Sheena from our production team. Hello. And this week also we have again Nymph after we missed him so much last week while we talked with Solange. I didn't really miss you so much, Nymph. But
Yeah, you had so much, of course. How can you miss me?
I was feeling comfy with Solange, you know.
Yeah.
Okay, so this week we are going to talk about a somewhat controversial subject. Is fusion in dance, and we have here Laura from Canada. She wrote a blog post in grapewinedzouk.com called "Going to Fuse, Do It Right, Please." And I want to welcome her.
I think
Zoukcast.
she's gone.
How you doing, Laura?
I'm good. How are you?
Fine. So, Laura, first of all, why did you write the post?
That particular one, because there was a person in the Zouk scene who shared a video of a very well-known bachata couple who were doing what they called sensual bachata, which was about 80% Brazilian Zouk and not well done Brazilian Zouk.
Yeah.
It was the type
I
of
know
Zouk
which
that,
couple you refer to, and I know the specific video that you refer to. But
yeah.
I won't name names.
Yeah.
Just for now. Laura, we have a small problem with your camera. We don't see you. I don't know if Nymph you're seeing her.
No, it's
No?
stuck.
We see
Oh, that's not good.
black
Let me see.
screen. So maybe you can restart the camera or something like that.
Better?
Not really. It's
Oh,
black.
okay.
Maybe you can quit the call and then rejoin, and we will keep talking with Nymph. Okay, she went. away now. Okay.
Reactive.
Okay, so Nymph, did you read the post?
Oh, she's back.
Oh, she's
Yeah,
back.
I read it.
And now with video, right? Okay, perfect.
Now with video.
Okay, okay. Since everybody in the Zouk scene know who we are referring to, I will name them like Daniel and Desiree, right? So
That was, but I'm trying not to
okay.
start going there.
I talked with a sensual bachata teacher on episode 4, and we were discussing a little bit this fusion that they are having in the bachata world with the Zouk and everything. And of course, with him being a bachata professional, I didn't want to mention the couple, but I did link the video on the comments of the show. And for me, I also felt like it was a very bad done Zouk, and it was not really so much fusion, but like stealing Zouk for their show. Did you feel like that?
Yeah, that's pretty much how I felt about it as well. I think that there's a line that you can cross when you're trying to fuse, and you have to still give respect back to your influences.
Yeah. But what does mean for you to give respect back to the influences?
Well, I think you can do it in multiple ways. Like, for example,
Oh, we're losing you again, Laura.
firstly,
Oh, shit. That's the problems of the live show, you know, like we have technical problems with
Yeah.
internet connection.
Yeah, she's in the office, and it can happen, I think.
Yeah, maybe we should suggest
phone.
her to use her phone. I will write to her in Facebook,
Yeah.
so she can connect with the phone. Minute. Meanwhile, if anybody is watching live, you could post your questions in the chat, so Nymph will read them and we will try to
Answer.
to answer. Yeah. Sorry, I cannot speak and write in the computer at the same time.
No multitasking.
So, Sheena, can you talk with Nymph while I'm trying to recover?
Yeah, why not?
What do you think? What do you think about dance fusion?
I personally love fusions because I like to merge different worlds, and not only in dance but just in general. I have a mixed background, so I love to bring different cultures together. So in dance, I love all kinds of fusions, but I do understand. Well, I read the article, and from what I remember is that Laura was just really emphasizing the respect that should be given to the origins of the dance, and that people should know how to should know where the fusion is coming from, so they execute it safely. And with that, I
Hello.
totally agree, of course. Hi, welcome back.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah, don't worry. So Sheena was saying her own view on the fusion, and she to summarize, she was for, or she was not against fusion, but again she read the post and she agreed about the respect. But you were explaining to us, what did that respect mean for you?
Yes, I'm not sure where I cut off, so apologize if I repeat one or
do
two
the same,
things.
do the whole explanation, because you got cut out at the first words.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, basically, I think that there's a few ways that you can give respect back to the dance. One is by actually going and getting training in the dance and learning how to do it right, so that when you fuse, it's not an unattractive version of the dance that you're trying to do. The second is to tell people that it's Zouk. And the third has to do more with a volume of what you're taking. If you take 10 Zouk patterns in a row and call it sensual bachata, that's stealing. If you add a tilt and a body wave into a bachata basic, it's fusion. So when I see videos that are, we're just taking Brazilian Zouk and dancing it, not even actually to a bachata song, but an acoustic song, and calling it bachata, it's not bachata, it's Zouk. So that's to me where the line is.
Okay, I wouldn't agree on the musical part of it, because we in Zouk, we don't have any music that we could call like this is Brazilian Zouk music. But I get what you mean. Like they were not doing even bachata basics. They were doing just like a head movement, lateral Zouk step. And it was not a really nice one. So I get what you said.
But you know what I wonder? If those those performers actually took classes with Zouk teachers, or that they just saw Zouk videos and then stole the ideas from that.
Well, with this particular couple, what I've been told is that they've done a few private classes in Zouk, but I have never spoken to them personally, so that's not something that I have personal knowledge of. But people have told me that, oh yeah, they took a few classes, but the biggest issue that people have with them is that they say that they came up with it and that it's not Zouk specifically. So.
Yeah. So Nymph, we have talked about these guys like twice or three times in the show. Maybe we should invite them to talk with us.
Sounds like a good idea.
I don't know, because they are such big stars now in bachata. If they will have time for us.
I've seen many videos of them or demos, and most of them I like the fusion when they fuse with Zouk moves. But there was this particular video, and when they did this hair movement, I was like, oh my god, this is like it's not okay. It's yeah.
Yeah. Also, I haven't heard that they don't mention Zouk, because I read some students of them, like they say, no, we do Zouk into our bachata. So they do mention Zouk, but sometimes especially when I saw that video, I would prefer they don't mention Zouk. Like I don't want people to think that's Zouk, because for me it was not beautiful in any way.
But there are also people that are like there are fusion tango into Zouk or other kind of dances into Zouk, but they also do it bad, but still they call it Zouk.
Yeah. So, but for me, it's difficult to say where's the line. So, Laura, where's the line in, or how good have you to be in the other dance to be allowed to fuse in your dance? You know, for example, if I want to fuse some hip hop in my Zouk dance, how good should I be in hip hop to be allowed?
Well, I think there's a difference depending on your status and what you're putting forward as the fusion. If you're presenting yourself as a teacher and you're teaching this to people, you better know what you're doing in the other genre, and you better know it at a level that you can teach it. If you can't teach the other genre, you shouldn't be fusing it into something that you're teaching. You need to understand what you're doing. If you're social dancing and you're having fun with figuring things out and just putting some fun things together on the dance floor, it's a very, very low level. Like, I fuse West Coast Swing and Zouk all the time, and I throw random tango-esque things into my Zouk that I've never taken tango. But I'm not presenting myself as a teacher that puts those things into my Zouk because I just don't know them well enough.
Yeah.
So it's a different threshold.
Yeah. So the difference here is what they claim or they don't claim about their being the creators or not of these movements, or also about if you are a professional, maybe you should go to another professional to learn these movements properly, and try not to because for me the main problem with that is not that they do it on the show. The problem is not also that they do it wrong on the show and they don't say it's Zouk. For me, the main problem is that students, they will try to do it as well. And the students, the bachata students in this case, they will do a copy of the copy. You know, like a copy of a bad copy of the movement. So for me, Zouk is very dangerous. Zouk is a very dangerous dance physically. Like if you don't do the movement properly, you will get injured even if you don't hit each other. Like as this week I saw a lady that was all bloody in the face because she hit with another one. It's really dangerous. So you should be aware of that as a teacher and as a professional, and don't try to showcase something that you don't know how to do, right?
I agree.
Okay, I think that it was not a question, but a statement. Okay,
that is a statement.
Yeah. So Laura, how should we as a community, as the Zouk community, react to these kind of things?
Well, that's complicated because, like, for me, my outlet was, oh, I wrote a blog post about it because I was frustrated and like, but when it's in another community, the most you can do is just try to educate people that you know who are part of that community on what's going on, because they're not going to care if we get angry. There's nothing that we can do to say, don't do this, because they're going to do it anyway. They're not Zouk dancers. They're not in the community, so our influence over them is practically nothing. So really, it's just a matter of education, and if we just get angry about it and are like, that's not that, like, you're not going to accomplish anything. It's just pointless anger. So there's not really much we can do about it.
You wouldn't talk to these guys to ask their opinion straight, or you would prefer to talk to the students and educate them instead?
Well, I don't think that the teaching couple is ignorant of what they're doing. I'm sure that they've heard that people are not happy about what they're doing. It's not exactly a secret, especially at a professional level. So I don't think that someone going and talking to them and saying like you need to stop doing this is going to change anything, because they're professionals, they're on top of their game and it's working for them. Why would they change something that's working?
Yeah.
But if you talk to the students and then the students are educated, the students can actually hold their teachers accountable, because when you have a teacher and then the students are like, hey, you can't do that, then the teacher now has to listen, because the people that are learning from them are saying, no, not okay, stop. So.
Okay, but why do you think is that Zouk is not growing so much by itself, but Zouk is really big in the fusion? You know, like many dances are using Zouk Zouk material, but nobody knows what's Zouk apart from the Zoukers.
Is that a question for me to?
Yeah, why do you think is that?
Well, first of all, I think that Zouk has something that virtually no other dance has by virtue of the upper body movements that we do. And a lot of other dances are primarily lower body based, not upper body based, which makes Zouk an ideal candidate to fuse with, because you're using a part of the body that is not being used in that dance. Why I think Zouk isn't growing as fast is a different question, and I think a lot of it has to do with the difficulty that is Zouk. First of all, a lot of beginner follows get really intimidated because they see crazy head movements and don't think they can do them and don't think they're safe and think that they will hurt themselves, when in fact they can actually do it. And like, we have like a 65-year-old on our dance team and she can do this stuff. So yeah, you can do it too. But it takes training and it takes investment and it takes time. You don't need time to go on a kizomba floor and at least do the basic steps.
Yeah.
You don't need that. To get good at it, yes, you need time and training, but you can go functionally. No problem.
What is funny to me is that I've seen some crazy stuff in bachata dance floor that it's really difficult to do, even if they are not doing it properly, but like very dangerous and difficult movements. But beginners in bachata, they don't fear so much to do them.
It doesn't look as scary.
So maybe that we are educating too much our students about what they can and they cannot do, and other dancers don't care so much, and they have more commercial success because of that they don't care so much.
I don't think it's necessarily that, because usually when I get students that come in, that's when they start getting into it more. It's usually getting them in the door the first time, and then once they're in the door the first time, they go, oh, it's actually not that bad. Like, I can take this good. So it's that first, like, ooh, I don't know if I even want to try that, because,
yeah,
right?
It feels scary. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Nymph, this is also related to the simplification subject that we talk about.
Yeah.
Should we be more careful when we showcase Zouk to not non-Zoukers, like new people?
Yeah. For beginners, new people, we have to show them really easy stuff. Like even if you do kizomba or bachata, and you teach beginners, they do really like step, all this easy basic stuff, and then later they're gonna of course gonna experiment, and then they became more experimental. I think in Zouk we should do this too. Like from the basic, it should be really easy for everyone to follow. And when they are more like level 3, 4 are advanced, then they can go out of their box and be more creative, crazy.
So, Laura, my main concern about what Nymph just said is that if we simplify so much the basics, people won't see what the beauty of Zouk, what makes Zouk different. So for any newcomer that comes to a dance room and they see different dances, and they see that the basics are more or less the same in all the dances, and they don't see the fancy stuff, maybe they will go for the dance that has more girls or the dance that has more people in it. You know what I mean?
I think that it's a balance. I actually pretty much agree with what Nick said, and I think a really good example of this is that when I show beginners videos, I don't show them Muffy and I don't show them people who do crazy stuff. Usually what I do is I show them Freddie and Andressa.
Yeah.
Because Freddie and Andressa do a lot of nice, sensual, slow, gentle things. Not that it's easy, but it looks gentle.
Yep.
And that gets people interested in actually learning the dance. They're like, oh, I like these body rolls and these body isolations and these waves. And, ooh, their head movement looks really nice. And it's slow and it's smooth. And that gets people hooked on, maybe I can do that too. When I show people dancers who go a little bit more hardcore, or if I show them, like, for example, Kadu and Larissa's bending in half, they look at it and they go, I can never do that. Like, I'm never touching it with a 10-foot pole because there's no way I can do that. I'm not her.
I love the show of Kadu and Larissa when Kadu gets Larissa in the arms and throw her up, and then she falls on one arm and slides with the head just centimeters over the floor. I've seen that show live like 4 or 5 times, and I've seen it in YouTube for 1,000 times. And every time I see that movement, I get my heart like, shit, you know. So I understand what you're saying. I understand. So finally, what do you think about fusion in Zouk? Because for me, Zouk needs this tipping point where it will get huge. And I think that one of the possibilities here is that we go to a dance like hip hop, that they don't have a partner dance, and become the dance, the partner dance of hip hop, for example. Like fusing, like Dadinho is doing, like Renato Veronesi is doing. They are getting in hip hop crowd interested into Zouk because they see that they can dance their own music in a couple. So do you think that Zouk should try to go that way?
I know it's been really successful for us. We have a lot of solo dancers who perform with us and do things. The thing that I've noticed with a lot of solo dancers is they like the performance side. They don't usually get as heavy into the social dance side.
Yeah.
So that's the problem that I've seen with it. It doesn't mean that there's some dancers who come over and they cross over and they really get into partner dancing. But I would say that the vast majority of the solo dancers that I've met don't click with the social dancing. I've had a lot more success bringing people over from salsa and bachata and especially West Coast swing than I have with solo dancers.
And that's the same for male and female solo dancers?
Yeah, I've had more male solo dancers get into social dancing than females, though.
I think I can think of a reason for that, but I won't say.
Connection?
Yeah, like deep connection.
Yeah.
No, because you know, I met some professional hip hop teachers, and when they see me dancing to a hip hop song with the lady and with the body rolls and everything and all this sexy stuff, they say, "Hey, you should tell me how to do that." Because when I'm dancing hip hop, I'm dancing always alone, and the ladies look, but you get really close to the lady. And they were like, "Yeah, you should learn Zouk." So finally, to summarize, for you, the main problem with fusion in dance is giving back respect to the dance you're fusing, right? So
Yes.
um,
And safety.
yeah, and also be safe with the partner and also with the ones you are teaching to. So
Yes.
how should we go to these bachata places and try to dance some souk there so people get interested and then we can educate them in the proper movements, or maybe it's like intruding in their wall?
I think it really depends on the community and the size of the floor and things like that. Like if I'm going to another dances event, I will dance Zouk there, but I'll only dance Zouk there if we have the space to not intrude on their dancing. So if it's a tight floor, I'm not going to start doing Zouk there simply because then they're going to resent the fact that I'm taking up the space for their dance. If it's late at night or it's a really big floor or it's not too crowded, it becomes a really good opportunity to get people interested in it. So I think you have to kind of like pick and choose when you want to showcase it so that you're not seen as the annoying people who do crazy stuff and that you're seen as the cool people who have this other style.
Yeah. Because usually, talking not only about bachata, but also with kizomba guys and ladies, they get annoyed when you dance a little bit of souk in their kizomba parties. But many times you don't disturb them. You are just dancing on a corner, but they don't like it anymore. And sometimes I end up trying to fuse kizomba and souk, like doing close souk and trying to show that, okay, we can dance like that, but we like also to do more stuff. And do you think that going also to kizomba parties is good, or is it bad for souk?
I don't think it's necessarily good or bad. I personally am just not very connected to the heavy rhythms in kizomba. Like I know it's zoukable, but my preference tends to go more towards the acoustic lyrical, so I don't usually go there. When I have gone there, I try not to go full Zouk, if that makes sense, because then it feels very weird in a room full of like really close, like dancing to be like, wow, it's too much. But I definitely dance Zouk there, and I've always had a very good reception when I've gone.
Okay.
I certainly don't think it's hurting. I think you just have to respect the environment you're in. So the same way we want people when they come to a Zouk dance, like you don't want a kizomba dancer on the middle of a Zouk floor walking through everyone with their eyes closed, which happens. And I get just as peeved as when the kizomba dancers get angry at the Zouk dancers with their hair flying everywhere. So I understand why they're pissed. So just respect the room that you're in, respect the people that you're with, sense if the attitude is open to it, and if it's open, go crazy. There's nothing wrong with that.
Nice. Okay, so I think that that's all from my part. Sheena, do you have any additional question?
Yeah, I just wanted to know, what do you think is more fusible with Zouk? Like, what kind of dance styles?
I've had the most luck with West Coast swing, personally. I think that the beautiful thing in West Coast swing is that it has the same ability to deconstruct itself as Zouk does. And it has even more room for the follow to play and whatnot. So when you have those elements together, and also it's fantastic for your counterbalance. Really good for counterbalance. And those elements make it a very cross-compatible dance, in my opinion, even though fundamentally the dances seem very similar. Sorry, different. Seem very different in their fundamentals.
Okay, Nymph, anything additional to say or ask?
Yeah, I was thinking about like the Brazilian Zouk. It's not like a dance, like original dance. It came from the lambada and has a history. In the Brazilian dance, they has a lot of fusion from other dances, like the basics from Brazilian dance is maybe from the samba or maybe from other dances. The position, all this kind of stuff is from other dances. Should we mention our student also like, hey, this is not a Zouk basic, this is a samba basic, or this is something from other dances? Because we are telling this is Zouk basic, and you're doing the Zouk, but it's not Zouk basic, it's the basic that came from samba.
Well, I don't know what you do, but I know with our students, one of the very first things that we tell them about is where Zouk came from and the fact that it is a mashup dance.
Yeah.
And so,
But if you
at
teach
least
them, for example, the basics, do you tell them, hey, this is not a Zouk basic, but this basic is from Samba. We borrow it from Samba and we're doing it in Zouk. Do you tell your students?
Sometimes depends on the move. It depends like how bored the class gets when I talk. But like it's very important to me that teachers do mention from the start that like Zouk is not a pure dance and it is already a mashup. And I think that is enough to me in Zouk to cover your bases in terms of making sure that you're not being like, yeah, Zouk came out of nowhere and it's brand new. Like, no, it was a piece from this, and then they went, and here's a new dance. So that's what it is.
I would say that every dance began like that. You know, like Zouk is very young and it's still setting its basic stuff. But I guess that 100 years ago, when they started dancing tango, it was a mashup of different things that were going on at the time, and same with any other dance. So maybe we should close the episode by saying that everything is fusion. Like every dance that you know, it's a fusion of something that happened before.
Yes, of course.
So the only thing that you should do is to respect what you are using in your dance, right, Laura?
I agree with that.
Okay.
All right.
So it was really nice to talk to you, Laura. Thank you for being here. It's been a pleasure to get to know you for the first time, and I hope we can meet in person sometime.
Yes, I hope so too. Thank you so much for having me today.
You're very welcome. And Nymph, welcome back.
Yes, I'm back.
I did miss you last week.
Uh-huh.
I just
To be honest.
So much love.
Yeah, I was really stuck. I could not leave.
Okay, and thank you, Sheena, for being here. She's visiting for a few days here in Barcelona, and I wanted her, since she's doing, together with Sandra, a really good work in the production side of ZoukCast. We wouldn't be able to do ZoukCast without her help and Sandra's help. So thank you very much to be here. And that's all for everybody that's watching, that will watch later. We are trying very hard to improve our equipment and our connections and everything, and we're spending some money on that. So if you want to help us to improve ZoukCast, here under my name you have this address, like patreon.com/ZoukCast, where you can go and give us a little bit of some contribution to help us keep ZoukCast going better and better each week. And that's all for today. I hope to see you next week, everybody. And
who is next week?
Next week, who was next week?
Sarita.
Oh, Sarita from London, a contemporary dancer that she is working Brazuca, and she's really, really, really an enjoyable dancer in the dance floor.
Also fusion in Zouk?
She fused all the crazy stuff that she knows from contemporary into the dance floor in Zouk. And like Laura said, like West Coast Swing has some more room for the partner to be playful. You wouldn't think that if you saw Sarita dancing. She's the most playful dancer in the partner dance that I ever met.
Now I want to see her dance.
She's really good. She's really good. So next week, Sarita in ZoukCast, and that's all for today. Thank you, Laura, for being here. Thank you, Nymph. Thank you, Sheena, and see you next week.
Bye-bye.
All right. Bye.